Claressa and Papoose really got people shaking their heads with these interviews, because this is getting messy fast. At first, I wasn't even going to speak on it, but then Claressa pulled up to the Breakfast Club talking wild confident about how he pays all her bills and runs her whole life. She was like she can't even remember the last time she picked up a fork or booked her own hair appointment, saying he does everything for her, like everything in her life is handled by him. Then she doubled down like, look at me, who would want to leave me? Look at my body, look at me. And that right there had people side-eyeing heavy. Now let's be real for a second, because just looking good isn't what keeps somebody around, and everybody knows that. 9 times out of 10, a man is not sticking around just because someone looks good if the attitude is off or the energy is wrong. And people started whispering that maybe the only thing keeping things steady is money in the mix, because that changes the whole dynamic real quick.
She's done interviews that basically said that you pay all the bills?
What you want me to do, Vlad? False narratives. So once a false narrative goes out, unfortunately, everybody jacks it. I don't want you to think I don't hear you, but nah, not over here, man. We don't play them type of games.
Okay.
I carry myself in the, let me just get to the point. Always been fly, right? Heavy jewels, right? Nice whips. Okay, moving on forward from that. I already bought my first house before I even got my first record deal, by the way.
Then here comes Papoose stepping in and flipping the whole story upside down in his own interview, and it got awkward fast. He was talking like, ask yourself that, Vlad, ask yourself that, trying to sound deep and mysterious, even bringing up how he was treated like royalty in another country, saying they looked at him like Black Jesus because of how he moved with the people.
Cheated first.
Normally, I wouldn't even entertain this, but the fact that you mentioned my children, I'm not letting that ride. Since this whole situation happened, everybody know I never said nothing. The only time I said something was the last time when she tried to clout chase with the whole fake thing she tried to put on Instagram before. But ever since this transpired, I never opened my mouth, never said nothing, because that's not my style. And also, I would never want to disrespect her. You know what I mean? Actions speak way louder than words. Initially, when it transpired, which was 2022, when she started dealing with the lane. But that wasn't the first time I caught her cheating. I've caught her cheating numerous times since she's been home. With the lane, the reason, but hold on, let's get to the point. We're gonna get to the lane later.
It sounded big, but then he had every moment with the twist nobody expected. Because right after all that talk, he straight up said he's not paying any of those bills at all.
You had the audacity to mention my child, and you had the audacity to mention me not seeing my daughter, when ever since I left, she has not allowed me to see my daughter. She's been straight miserable. I'm gonna say it again. All men out there who ever been through this type of situation, you know how it gets when you're dealing with a miserable individual. She did not allow me to see my daughter since this first transpired at the end of last year. Time I try to be intimate. I'm keeping it 100 with you. I try to be intimate with her, and she came in the bed with me. She slipped out of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay. After she do that, she go back to sleep in the room with homegirl this particular night. I said, something is fishy here. I said, I ain't no rocket scientist, but this ain't adding up. You feel me? So I said, damn, something wrong, something ain't right here.
He made it clear he doesn't even live there and doesn't know what she's talking about when she says mom upstairs, which left everybody confused in watching this whole situation unfold. Like, wait, what is really going on here? He kept going, saying he's not even upstairs like that and doesn't live with her, making it real clear there's distance there. Then he threw in, she ain't got no ring. That must have been from her ex. And that just made the whole situation feel even more awkward.
So one time, I had to go do something. I had to go handle some business. So I go handle business. I come back in the crib. It's a big-ass crib. And they got like a long walkway to get to our bedroom. It's like a long walkway. And then on the other side is the other rooms. So I come in the crib. As soon as I walk in, I look down towards our bedroom. I see my daughter in our room by herself. I say, yo, what The heck? Where the hell she at? So I go up the other side.
He lying.
I tell you, this it's a big crib, so it's a long walkway. I go to the other side. Huh? I go in the room. She in the bed. I don't see homegirl though. It's like she booked it or something when I came. But I see a whole plate, peanuts, cashew, all these type of raisins all laid out. But my daughter in the room by herself. So I said, yo, why the baby in the room by herself? She made some bullshit excuse. Extreme liar. You never seen a liar like this in your life. I said, where homegirl at? She didn't even answer that. It was just like a weird answer. I pushed past that. Moving on along.
Then he switched lanes out of nowhere, talking about I had a $1.5 million deal, biggest deal you could ever see on this side of the world, trying to sound impressive, but it came off like he was dodging the real question.
Is it just me, or did it seem like he was really upset because they was in that bug with a charcuterie board, wine and candles, and he's like, hold up, ain't nobody call me? Ain't nobody invite me here? So y'all just in there scissoring without me?
I hate to say this, y'all. I hate to say this. But you want to know why she started having so much animosity towards me? Because I ended up finding out the truth, y'all. And I'm not saying this because it's a bad thing, but I'm saying this because, when I say not a bad thing, because I don't judge people who live that lifestyle. But she has done a lot of bashing towards people who live that lifestyle and talk so bad about them and say so many foul things about them that it hurted her so bad that I knew the truth. So on another day, I caught her.
At that point, people were already thinking, Papoose, just answer the question normal, because all that extra talk started sounding like confusion instead of clarity. And honestly, it feels like Claressa might not even realize when someone is feeding her a whole bunch of word salad, stacking big phrases together that sound good, but don't really mean much when you break it down.
With this individual in our house while my daughter was on the bed with them. Ended up catching it. Now, this individual is a female. So I can't do nothing to her. I don't put my hands on females. Y'all want to know what I did? I told the individual, I said, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't put my hands on her because I'm not gonna do that. I don't hit women. But I told her to get out. I said, get the fuck out. Because I feel very disrespected that took place in my house while my daughter was right there on the bed. And you know what she did? Blame me. Said it wasn't true. Said my ears deceived me, my eyes deceived me. Which goes back to what I was telling y'all earlier. She's the type of person who will say something to you, and 10 to 5 minutes later, she'll say, I didn't say that. Straight bipolar. Straight bipolar. Was diagnosed with it. So ever since I caught that, she resented me. She had a lot of animosity towards me because I knew the truth.
Now we really got to talk about this situation because it's getting harder to ignore what's actually going on. So what's up, my friend, and welcome back once again to the Just Casin brand. I'm your homegirl, your T, your prima, your cousin, your friend, whatever you need me to be while we sort through this mess together. If you're new here, welcome to the neighborhood, where we keep things real and keep things moving. You can look around because we talk about a little bit of everything over here. We get entertained, we laugh, and then we carry on with our day like nothing happened. If that sounds like your vibe, go ahead and join the tribe. And if you've already been here, hey friend, how you doing? Happy work week, wishing you nothing but smooth winds and good energy all week long. And yeah, my birthday is coming up next week, and I'm already counting down because it's about to be a whole moment. She even talked about wanting to change the narrative back then, saying when other women in jail saw her, they'd be like, oh wow, your man's still with you? And she'd proudly respond, yeah, I'm still here. But let's be honest, a lot of people were side-eyeing that whole situation, wondering what was really going on behind the scenes. Some even questioned if she was still the one holding things down financially during that time, because Papoose wasn't exactly making noise publicly like that. So when people say he stayed because it still benefited him, even during that period, that's a conversation that keeps coming up. Then fast forward to 2014 when she came home and everything looked like it was falling into place. They reunited, started building again, and welcomed their daughter into the world. Papoose seemed especially excited about that next chapter, really pushing the idea of growing their family and presenting that strong image to the public. And to be fair, it probably did start off solid again, with both of them trying to rebuild and move forward. But time changes people, and being apart for so long can shift how you see everything, including your relationship. It's very possible that while she was away, both of them grew in different directions, and once real life kicked back in, those differences became harder to ignore. You can picture how things might have evolved. They go from being a romantic couple to more like co-parents under the same roof, focused on raising their child and handling responsibilities. Especially during those early toddler years, everything becomes about structure, routine, and making sure the family stays stable while both people handle their careers. Then as their daughter gets older and starts becoming more independent, they suddenly have more time to actually look at each other again, and that's when reality can hit hard. If the connection isn't the same anymore, it becomes harder to pretend, and people start wondering if that's the point where both of them began exploring outside the relationship, leading to everything we're seeing unfold now. It really comes off like both of them were stepping outside the relationship at some point, because even Papoose tells his side saying the disconnect started after Remy cheated first, but the way he tells it, people couldn't help but notice he sounded more hurt about being left out than anything else. There's that moment he described walking into a situation with candles lit, a whole setup, and realizing nobody called him or included him, and he's basically like, hold up, what is going on here? That reaction had people raising eyebrows because it sounded less about betrayal and more about feeling excluded from the situation. And then there's talk about him being involved with another woman too, but not really handling it directly, which makes it seem like there were already cracks forming on both sides. At the same time, it wouldn't be surprising if Remy could already sense his energy shifting, like he was entertaining other attention to boost his own ego. So, when you really look at it, it feels like things may have started off as emotional connections with other people before turning into something more complicated. And what's interesting is, the people they were dealing with before all this current drama knew how to stay low-key, keep everything quiet, and not put anything on display. There were no public moments, no obvious signs, no extra attention being drawn. It was all kept under wraps. But now, everything feels loud, visible, and hard to ignore, which is exactly why people are watching this unfold so closely. And one thing for sure, people who are trying to keep things quiet are not out here taking pictures or saving anything in their phones that could get exposed later. If someone already has a partner, they usually deal with people who also don't want to go public, keeping everything low-key and out of sight. That's how situations like that stay hidden for so long without blowing up.
You know I'm a crybaby, I don't want to cry, but you're very admirable. You're teaching a lot of black girls how to stay determined and get the things that you want, and not really need anybody to do it. You know, like, that $8 million, okay, and I got a gift out of that, so
Okay, that one looks gold. This one looks rose gold. If y'all can't see it, I don't know what to tell you. Miss what our rings, girls.
always be solid bitches. How's up, girl? Clarissa's so funny, she's so sweet, she's so kind, and I love her. I be very.
Then enter Easy, and a lot of folks believe he came in smooth, talking a strong game and saying all the right things, like I'll be there for you, I'll do what your man won't do, and actually following through on it. And let's be honest, confidence and attention can go a long way, especially if someone feels like they're missing that in their main relationship. Now, when it comes to Claressa and Papoose, things start looking even more intense. There was that situation where they reportedly fell asleep on the phone together, and when Remy saw that, the reaction was basically like, ain't this something else? And when those screenshots started circulating, people immediately said that was a risky move, because once it's out there, you can't take it back. Those messages also gave people a glimpse into the dynamic, and many felt like it showed a level of insecurity in the relationship. It came off like constant check-ins were needed, falling asleep on the phone, staying connected every second, even updating each other when leaving the house, just to feel reassured. And that kind of energy had people wondering if she truly believed she was the only one in the picture, or if deep down she already had doubts she was trying to quiet. Now, here's where the rumors really start heating up, because people have been saying he may have also been involved with someone close to her circle. Yeah, Claressa's own friend, which makes the situation feel even more messy and complicated. These are the same friends she's super tight with, matching rings and all, like we locked in for life. So hearing that kind of talk had people looking at the whole situation sideways. With all that floating around, it's not surprising people feel like Claressa may have already been a little unsure about how solid things really were with Papoose. That could explain why they were always on the phone, staying connected non-stop, trying to keep that reassurance going, until everything started getting exposed and people began to put the pieces together. And no matter how much Papoose tries to clean it up now, saying the relationship didn't start until a certain time, a lot of folks are not buying that timeline at all. Even in that interview, when he was asked about meeting Claressa, he said, "I met her in 2022, but we didn't start talking until 2024, and that had people raising eyebrows instantly. Because when you look at certain moments and messages that have surfaced, it tells a different story to many viewers. People feel like there was already communication happening way before anything went public, and that this wasn't as new as it's being presented now. It comes off like there was already interest there, already attention being exchanged, just kept quiet until it couldn't be anymore."
Look like an amateur tonight, and you do all this talking about what you can do with me. That girl had you running tonight. Soon as you got tired and you got touched up, you got on your wheels. Remove the name Claressa Shields out your mouth, bro. Alicia and you, Shadesha, it's levels to this. And I'm on level 100, and y'all level 10.
At the same time, some believe Remy's connection with Easy didn't look as serious as people thought, more like something casual or temporary rather than long-term. And when she came online saying, "If he says I cheated, then go ahead and divorce me. Sign the papers, let's move on," it sounded like someone ready to close that chapter for good. So now it looks like they're living separate lives, each doing their own thing. Papoose in his own space, Remy focused on her path and building her brand. And with everything unfolding so publicly, people are watching closely, trying to figure out how it all went from power couple to this situation right here. She's out here leveling up too, with talks of a show, her own app, and constantly showing up looking put together and focused. You even see her in those behind-the-scenes moments with her child, and it comes off real and grounded, which a lot of people respect. It's like she's building her own lane while everything else is going on around her. But at the same time, people keep saying they couldn't imagine being in her position, still legally tied to someone while watching them move publicly with another woman. Seeing someone else post things like "I'm cooking for my man and this is my family" would have anybody feeling away, because that's a lot to take in when things aren't fully closed out. And that's where the frustration really shows, because many feel like the respectful move would be to just finalize everything cleanly. That way, nobody has to keep seeing all this play out online or deal with those awkward public moments where people are quietly judging and asking questions without knowing the full story. At the same time, there's still a big question hanging in the air. Has she actually been trying to fully separate, or has everything just been dragging out behind the scenes? It's been a while, and people are noticing that the situation still seems unresolved, which only adds more confusion to everything already happening. And when it comes to Papoose, not everyone is convinced by the image he presents. Some feel like he knows exactly what to say and how to act to get a certain reaction, especially when it comes to relationships. That doesn't necessarily mean everything is as genuine as it's being portrayed, and that's why people are questioning his intentions more than ever.
What I want, I make my own money, I'm successful, I mind my fucking business, and y'all steady come bothering me, but I'm the one that got, no. I got I beat your ass syndrome, I whoop a bitch, I whoop a nigga, I love my man syndrome, because it's whatever Papoose says goes, yeah, right? I have that syndrome. I don't fucking, how can I have this, when you say ugly girl syndrome, know that that's somebody who's constantly attacking people, somebody who is making up things about people, somebody who's not bothering them, they come go and bother them. That is what ugly girl syndrome is. Also, ugly girl syndrome is calling a girl that's pretty ugly. So a lot of y'all have that.
Instead of seeing a perfect, deeply devoted partner like he sometimes presents himself, critics are starting to view his actions as calculated, like he understands how to navigate emotions to get what he wants. And that shift in perception is exactly why this whole situation keeps people talking and watching every move closely. Some critics are painting a harsh picture, saying this is the kind of man who steps into your life and starts benefiting from everything you've already built. They claim he levels up off your success, your home, your lifestyle, your image, because being seen next to him raises his profile too. It's that idea of being shown off in public, turning the relationship into part of the brand, and people have definitely noticed that pattern before in other situations. There is even comparisons being made to other public relationships where people felt like one person gained more attention and visibility just by being attached. And that's why some are saying this situation feels familiar, like it's only a matter of time before things shift again once the spotlight changes. Then you've got that long interview where instead of clearing things up, he spent a lot of time talking about everything else. His business moves, past issues, other artists, and presenting himself like a major force in the industry.
Because I know damn well that I'm not ugly, but the amount of times that I see it, y'all keep saying it to me because y'all want me to believe it. And it's like, I already know. Before they created, or before I knew about some motherfucking weave and hair and wigs and makeup and lipstick and eyelashes and eyebrows, I already had accepted who I was. I already had accepted my beautiful, natural face already. So when it comes to y'all talking about some, oh, she's ugly, baby, I'm never going to believe that because I've never thought that I was an ugly girl. But when I made it past the age of 14, I saw my face, I saw my body shape, I saw my everything, and I was like, God damn, I'm a good-looking woman.
He even spoke about trying to connect boxing and music, positioning himself as someone making big plays behind the scenes, with titles and influence to match. But viewers weren't really there for all that. They wanted direct answers about Claressa and the relationship, especially with everything already out in the open. People were left wondering why the conversation didn't stay focused on the situation everyone's been talking about. And when questions do come up, the way they're answered can feel like they go in circles instead of getting straight to the point. That's why people keep saying, just address it clearly. No vague responses, no dodging. Because when timelines and stories don't quite line up, it naturally makes people look closer and start questioning what's really true. At the end of the day, people keep saying this whole situation feels like it's being shaped by whatever story sounds best in the moment, instead of just keeping it real. Because it could be explained way simpler. Just say you showed her how to manage her own bills, maybe set things on autopay through her own account, and keep it honest. There's nothing wrong with saying that clearly, instead of making it sound like something bigger than it is. And honestly, Claressa could easily stand on that and say, yeah, I pay my own bills, and it wouldn't take anything away from her at all. If anything, it would make her look more independent and in control, especially with the kind of money she's making. That's the kind of confidence people expect, owning your success and making it clear nobody else is running your finances. A lot of folks feel strongly about this part, saying when you earn your own money, you protect it and stay in charge of it. Nobody should have full control over your accounts or your assets unless there's a serious, legally committed partnership involved. Otherwise, it just opens the door for confusion, and people are always going to question what's really going on behind the scenes. And when you look at their situation, people also bring up the age gap and how different their life stages might be. That alone can shape how a relationship functions, especially when one person has had way more time and experience navigating things a certain way. Then you add in how smooth he comes across, knowing exactly what to say, how to say it, and how to paint a big picture about the future, like we're going to the top together, and it can sound convincing. But that's exactly why people are watching closely, because when words are strong but actions seem unclear, it leaves room for doubt and a lot of questions that still haven't been fully answered.
So you might as well stop saying that to me. You cannot convince a bad bitch that she's not a bad bitch. And then on me, everything is natural, ain't nothing bought. So when y'all come bothering me, it's like, oh, Claressa got ugly girl syndrome. No, if a girl come disrespect a man, I'm gonna disrespect them back. I have don't fuck with me syndrome. Leave me alone syndrome. Let me live in love and peace syndrome. Buy what I want syndrome. The fuck? I got that I'm in a league of my own syndrome. That's the syndrome that I have. Y'all blow me. Y'all gotta stop. People who I do know or don't know, I'm not finna go on nobody's page and say, oh, you're ugly. Oh, you can't dress. I don't like your hair. What?
The way it's being described, it almost sounds like he's painting this intense all-in routine, like, I want you training at the highest level, locked in like the greats in their prime, and tying that into their daily connection. Talking about waking up every morning, praying together on FaceTime, planning out the day step by step, staying in constant contact like it's all part of building something bigger. Then it shifts into this energy, where it's like constant check-ins, calls every hour, always needing to know where you are and what you're doing, all framed as care and concern. But at the same time, people are side-eyeing that because it starts to feel less like support and more like control when it's that non-stop. And what really gets attention is the contradiction people point out, wanting that level of access and updates but then moving in a way where everything isn't fully transparent on the other side. That's when folks start questioning the balance, because it can come off like one person is being watched closely while the other moves freely. That's why some are calling it as selling a dream, making it sound like partnership and protection, but really shaping things to stay in control of the situation. And people are not missing that detail at all, especially when the actions don't fully match the words being said. On the flip side, there's also a strong argument being made about independence in relationships, the idea that both people should handle their own business, keep their finances and careers separate, and come together by choice, not control. You do your thing, I do mine, and then we link up and actually enjoy each other without everything being tied together. That kind of balance is what many feel works better long-term, having your own structure, your own space, and still building something together without losing yourself in the process. And looking at this situation, it's exactly why people have such strong reactions, because the dynamic being shown just doesn't sit right with everyone watching it unfold. Some people are saying no matter how much she levels up on the outside, makeup, wigs, outfits, training, staying in top shape, and dominating in the ring, it doesn't change how her attitude comes across. They feel like the way she speaks about others can overshadow all the talent, and that's what really sticks with people watching the video. That moment when she went on that rant after another fighter lost had a lot of viewers calling it out as unprofessional, especially for someone at her level. People expect a certain kind of composure, win or lose, and that situation didn't sit right with many in the audience.
So what? If you don't like my hair? So what? If you don't like my clothes? So what? Do you pay my bills? You don't. So I don't understand that. That's why it's like kind of mind-boggling to me, but it's like, bro, I have make your own way syndrome, get to the top by any means necessary syndrome, make your money syndrome. Man, please take care of your family syndrome. That's what I got. I got don't bother me unless you want me to bother you syndrome. I got the when you start with me, I finish with you syndrome. That's what I got. You go low, I go to hell syndrome. The fuck?
And as more eyes start paying attention to women's boxing, people are noticing the contrast in how different fighters carry themselves. There are moments where opponents show mutual respect, simple gestures, calm energy during face-offs, and that understanding that it's competition, not personal. It sends a strong message that you can be fierce in the ring and still keep it respectful outside of it. Then, when you compare that to the more aggressive tone people feel Claressa brings at times, it creates a divide in how she's perceived. Some feel like it crosses the line from confidence into something harder to support, especially when it turns into public call-outs and heated moments. There's also been talk about her calling out certain names and people questioning what those matchups would really prove, especially when it involves legends from a different era. Because when respect is already there, many feel it should stay consistent instead of turning into tension later on. At the end of the day, a lot of this comes down to how someone balances skill, confidence, and respect. And right now, that balance is exactly what people are debating when it comes to her actions, both inside and outside of the ring. Some people feel like she had access to better guidance and could have asked the right questions before things got this messy, like going to someone experienced and saying, "Do you think this could affect my career?" and actually getting honest feedback from someone who's been there before. When you're at that level, having the right advice can make a huge difference in how you move. There's also talk about her not being as connected to her own circle, which makes people feel like she could have leaned on more solid mentorship instead of navigating everything alone. Because when things start playing out publicly like this, it shows how important it is to have people around you who will keep it real with you behind the scenes. At the same time, people are pointing out that she was very aware of Remy in her relationship. She had been engaging with her content, liking posts, paying attention to her style, even asking about fashion. And that's where the conversation starts getting interesting, because it didn't come off like she didn't know what was going on. It looked like she was watching closely. Some viewers feel like she may have taken inspiration a little too far, trying to mirror certain looks or energy instead of creating her own lane. And when you combine that with everything happening now, it raises questions about whether there was a deeper comparison happening behind the scenes. There's also commentary about how her energy has been coming across lately, with people saying it feels heavier or more tense than before. Whether that's fair or not, it's something viewers are picking up on, especially when emotions are running high in public moments. And then there's the bigger question people keep asking. Was she looking at that relationship and thinking she could step into a similar position, like if she got close to him, things would play out the same way for her? That idea has been floating around a lot, and it's exactly why this whole situation has people talking non-stop and trying to connect all the dots. A lot of people keep saying this pattern shows up all the time, where someone sees a relationship and thinks, "Wow, you're getting treated really well, I want that too," and then tries to recreate it for themselves. But it doesn't really work like that, because every connection is built on its own foundation, not something you can just copy and paste. And when it comes to real relationships, people often say it's not just about what someone can give you on the surface, it's about how both people show up for each other. We're talking about everyday things: support, respect, consistency, someone actually listening to you, caring about your day, helping you grow, and being present in a real way. That's the kind of connection people mean when they talk about wanting a certain lifestyle, not just the flashy side of things. At the same time, critics are pointing out that if a situation starts off complicated, especially involving someone who's already in a committed relationship, it's going to come with challenges from the start. That alone can shape how people view the dynamic, no matter how it's presented publicly. Then there's the online behavior that people keep bringing up, where they feel like certain posts or captions come off as trying to prove a point, like "my man, my family," putting everything on display. And instead of making things look solid, some viewers feel like it raises even more questions about what's really going on behind the scenes. People have also noticed a difference in how he speaks depending on the situation, especially when comparing past and present. The tone, the wording, the level of respect, it all gets analyzed closely, and that's why people keep drawing their own conclusions from it. And one thing that keeps coming up is how he seems to view the dynamic overall, with some feeling like there's a clear difference in how he carries himself depending on who he's with. That perception alone is enough to keep the conversation going, because once people start noticing those shifts, they don't stop watching. And when people say he treats her like a younger woman, they're not even talking about looks, they mean the energy, like it comes off more playful and less serious. Almost like praising small wins in a way that feels a little off, like she's doing great, she earned this, she did that, instead of speaking with that same depth people noticed before. That difference in tone hasn't gone unnoticed at all. Meanwhile, Claressa has been getting a lot of mixed reactions online, and it's clear she's feeling that pressure. Yes, she has supporters who are rooting for her and believe in what she's building, but there's also a strong group of people saying this situation just doesn't look right. A lot of women in particular are calling it out, saying this isn't the way to build something real, especially when it starts off this complicated.
Because one thing people keep repeating is that how a relationship begins can shape how it ends. If someone is still tied to another situation and moving back and forth, it creates doubt from the start. And when everything is happening publicly, it just adds more eyes, more opinions, and more pressure on every move. Then, when everything escalated, instead of staying quiet, she responded in her own way, and that just added more attention to the situation. Some people feel like stepping back would have avoided extra drama, while others understand wanting to speak up and defend yourself when your name is involved. But at the same time, people are also questioning the logic of certain conversations, like being pressed about messages or actions while the bigger situation is still unresolved. That's why you see reactions like, wait, what are we really addressing here, because the foundation itself is still being debated. And that's the part that keeps the discussion going, because when the main issue isn't fully settled, everything else around it just keeps adding more layers, more confusion, and more opinions from every direction. A lot of people are saying she needs to step back and get around people who truly value themselves, because that kind of environment can really change how you move in life. Being around grounded, confident women can shift your mindset, help you see things clearer, and influence the choices you make in relationships and in public. When people look at everything that's happened, from the tension with others to how situations have been handled publicly to the way she addresses opponents, it creates an image that not everyone is connecting with. Some viewers feel like the reactions come off too intense at times, like everything turns into a confrontation instead of being handled calmly. There's also been talk about how quickly things can escalate, with emotions running high and responses coming out strong. And while confidence and toughness are part of being a fighter, people are pointing out that outside the ring, a different level of control and communication can go a long way. Moments where conflict turns into talk about fighting, especially outside of the sport, tend to stand out to viewers, because at that point, it's no longer about competition. It starts to feel more personal, and that shift is what people react to the most. Some also question how that kind of energy plays out in a relationship, wondering if those same reactions carry over into private situations. It raises concerns about how disagreements are handled and whether things can stay balanced long-term when emotions run that high. At the same time, others feel like being in a complicated and very public relationship only adds more pressure to everything. When you're already dealing with a demanding career, constant attention, and physical strain from the sport, adding relationship stress on top of that can make things even harder to manage. That's why many people believe this situation might not be difficult to sustain over time, because it requires stability, trust, and clear communication. And right now, from the outside looking in, those pieces don't seem fully in place. Some people are even saying this situation might not last much longer, maybe another year at most if things keep going the way they are. And one big concern that keeps coming up is the idea of her taking things further, like starting a family in the middle of all this, because that would only make everything more complicated. A lot of folks feel like she deserves a fresh start when it comes to love, something stable, something fully hers, where she's building with someone from the ground up instead of stepping into something that already has layers and history attached to it. That kind of foundation matters, especially when you're thinking long-term about marriage and family. At the same time, people keep saying this is something she has to realize for herself. Until she truly sees her own value and decides she wants more, the cycle can keep repeating, just with different faces and the same outcome. Because confidence on the outside doesn't always mean clarity in decisions, and that's what people feel is missing here. And if it's not this situation, many believe it could easily turn into another one just like it, unless something really shifts in how she approaches relationships and what she accepts. That's why this whole thing has people talking so much, because they're watching it play out in real time and wondering what the next move will be. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about everything going on? Do you think Papoose is really who he presents himself to be? Or is there more to the story that we're not fully seeing yet? And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you don't miss any updates when I post. Catch you in the next one.